What's up, everybody? Jared Sandler with you for today's Rangers game memory. Again, if this is your first time tuning in, I encourage you to share your Rangers game memories. It could be a significant game in franchise history or just a pretty inconsequential game that maybe has meaning to you. I want to today talk about a big game from the 2004 season. Rangers-A's. Late September, I want to say September 23rd, maybe 24th. I've got the box score in front of me, but I can't find the date for some reason. And it was Rangers-A's in Arlington. It was a Thursday afternoon, and it was a getaway day game. The Rangers were trailing the A's for the division lead. This was a fun 2004 season. No one really expected much of the Rangers. This was the first year post-A-Rod. Remember, A-Rod won it out because of the kids. And the Rangers with Michael Young and Mark Teixeira, Hank Blaylock. You had David Dellucci, Brian Jordan on that team, though he wasn't very good that particular year. They were able to put together quite a run, and the Rangers had 84 wins going into this particular game. A win would bring them to within 2 games of the Oakland A's. Tim Hudson was starting for the A's. It was Chan-Ho Park for the Rangers. Now, I actually didn't get to watch any of this game, and that's a part of the memory. I was in Oklahoma because we had, for whatever reason, there was some holiday or something. For some reason, we had a football game on a Thursday night, not a Friday night. I grew up in the Metroplex. We had a school in our conference in Oklahoma, and this was in Oklahoma City. And so we're in the locker room. First of all, following the game on the bus. I don't think, MLB at bat wasn't around then. I had my Nokia, somewhat thick. It would be considered thick today. Phone. It was my first phone. It had Snake on it and barely any level of internet abilities. But I was able to check scores, and I think I could refresh and see what it updated. So I was able to follow along. I mean, this was a big game. We get to the locker room, and we're sitting around, not even time to put pads on or anything, and it's like the 8th inning. We're following along, and at the top of the 9th, the A's score to take a two-run lead. And then in the bottom of the 9th, and you probably at this point know what game I'm talking about. The Rangers string sign together, a Hank Blaylock home run, Michael Young gets on base, Brian Jordan gets on base, all against Octavio Dotel, who's one of the best relievers in baseball at the time. And then David Dellucci hits a line drive to right field, and as Josh Lewin described, Jermaine Dye couldn't get it. He dove to his left, it went by him, Michael Young scored, and then Brian Jordan scored to give the Rangers a walk-off win. First of all, I want to say this. Eric Nadell's radio call of that was outstanding, as are pretty much all of his calls. But this was the call that a lot of Rangers fans maybe remember most about Josh Lewin. I encourage you to look up both the radio and TV call. And it was just a big game. That was a fun year. I think, listen, anytime your team's winning more than they're losing and they're competing for a playoff spot, it's fun. I think it's particularly fun when you're not expecting to have that type of success. And that was the case for that year's Rangers team. Now, they got to within 2 games of the A's. That kept their playoff chase alive. It didn't end up coming full circle. They fell short of the playoffs. It was a fun year. It made us, as Rangers fans, think that, next year was going to be even better. And that just wasn't the case. It took, as you know, several years for the Rangers to get to the playoffs. It was that magical 2010 season as they waited more than a decade in between playoff appearances. But that was such a fun game, and we were all sitting around in the locker room around my phone, and we are waiting for the page to refresh, and the page to refresh. It's 1-1. Now the count's 1-2, whatever it might have been. And when there was a long delay, we thought, oh, game's probably over. And then just because why not? I'm not going to not look. When the page refreshed, even though we all assumed the game was over, it said Rangers 5, A's 4. And we all, in a subdued way, because not everyone on the team really cared, but the 4 or 5 of us who were really into it sort of went nuts in the locker room because of that Rangers walk-off win. And it wasn't until, I don't know, that night or the next day when I actually heard the call both on the radio side and the TV side, and it was pretty cool. So the classic David Dellucci walk-off. Rangers beat the A's 5-4. That is today's Rangers game memory. Looking forward to hearing some of yours, seeing some of yours, reading some of yours. So please share them. We'll have more Rangers game memories throughout the week right here on 105.3thefan.com.